I thought this Gusion kill was just mechanics at first, but after watching it back, this was really the first game where this Zhask build felt genuinely hard to boost. Marksman Emblem gave me enough attack speed to drop the Feather of Heaven, which let me build more survivability and scaling instead. And against assassins like Gusion, that changed everything.
Smash the request backup.
So having played hundreds of games with Zhask and gotten MVP many times, I have a certain instinct as to what helps me perform well in games, and one of them is to ensure that you enter ranked games with at least one team member who you know is good and who has your back, preferably that he is either a roamer or a jungle. So in this game, Angela was my friend and she came to the mid with me. Unfortunately, I don't know this jungle, and this jungle clearly doesn't understand the importance of getting the Litho Wanderer, and he let Louis steal it, and therefore I had to ensure that I destroyed the plant that is left over when the enemy takes Litho Wanderer, so that I'm not easily ganked and blindsided from that direction. And that is a key if you're going to play Zhask in mid lane. Even though your spawn gives you a lot of range, so you can stay close to the turret, you are very squishy and easily ganked with those bushes on the side, so you always want to take Litho Wanderer, so at least you have vision on one side. And then of course the gold from Litho Wanderer is key, because you need to build your equipment because you get strong by the mid game.
Okay.
So this is where your style of play or your particular philosophy of the game influences your decision making here. So you look to the minimap and I can see a massive team fight is occurring on the bottom lane. The top lane has Esmeralda engaging one enemy. There's nobody in the mid lane, so therefore most likely my teammates are outnumbered on the bottom lane. Now I'm thinking, do I go to support them or do I focus on pushing my lane and getting the turret? Well, I decided to get the turret first and then I went to assist. Why? Because it's early game, my build isn't that big yet. I need to focus on farming so I can dominate mid game. And of course, it's turrets that wins games and not team fight. Now, I'm not suggesting you do this all the time, because you will be eventually criticized by your team if you're not participating in team fights. But on this particular one, with an empty turret where I can farm ghoul, and Zhask is one of the best laners because he can do double damage on a turret, both from his spawn as well as his own personal attacks. So I was like, this is my chance to push this turret hard, take the ghoul from the turret and perhaps get the turret and then assist. And as you can see, it worked out well this time because my teammates did not die in high numbers in the team fight, and I was able to get a turret and then come and assist. But that's a judgment call you have to make in the match. Another game, if we were down early, I might consider forgetting the turret and helping my team. But we had a slight lead, and I think turrets is what win games, not kills.
By the swarm!
Now here's where I made a different choice. As you can see, I'm clearing my mid lane. I look to my minimap and almost the identical setup is there. Massive team fight occurring on the bottom lane. Esmeralda is at the top lane. So I'm now deciding, do I continue to push my lane or do I assist the team fight? But I go for the team fight because I already have a turret lead in my lane and we are approaching the mid game, the 7-minute mark. And I'm like, it makes more sense to assist the team than continue pushing turrets when I already have an advantage. So, and it turned out to be the right decision, because this is where I got my triple kill. And this is where you saw Gusion dive me while I was in the enemy tower and took my HP almost down to 0. But I had my finger ready to hit the ultimate and I did it just in time and was able to take out Gusion. Now, why was I able to survive such a strong burst attack from Gusion? That comes down to my build. By this time, I do think I have the Destiny Clock, which gives me increased HP, increased hybrid defense, and some regeneration. So that is why I say this build, when you combine Destiny Clock with the Queen of Wings, which gives you an extra shield based on your magic power, those two give Zhask and his spawn enough durability to survive, even with an inch of his life, a strong burst attack from an enemy hero. It also makes your spawns harder to kill. So when you place your spawn in a team fight, it can last longer, it can do more damage, and it can disrupt and distract the enemy formation. And that's why Zhask becomes a very skilled, not only finisher, but also a very important in team fight.
Killing spree.
So another thing, if you want to be a very good player with Zhask, you need to know how your various jungle skills operate. So I knew how Gusion goes for his kills. So as soon as I see him use his first skill and his 5 knives dash out and he dashes close by, I know the next move is the finisher to take down my HP. So I just waited till he finished his first skill and he was about to launch his ultimate finisher, and that's when I went into my death spawn ultimate and I was able to kill him. So I was only able to do that because I know exactly how Gusion's skills work. So if you're going to play Zhask, you should either play as some jungles to get a feel of how their skills work in decent classic, or you just have to play a lot of games and face off against a lot of jungles, and then you know how to time your skills to avoid or evade their finishing moves.
Oh, but not ready. Initiate retreat.
Now, this is slightly advanced level skill playing with Zhask. When you have an enemy who's running away but he's not yet ahead of your death spawn, you can actually aim your hive clones just in front of him so he runs into them. Because if you just press the hive clone, it's going to drop it where the enemy currently is, and if the enemy is fast enough, he can move ahead of them and you would have wasted your skill. So that requires a little more savvy when you're using your targeting of your hive clones to, slow the enemy's path and get the kill. And at this stage of the game, the dividends of my build really start to pay off in how easily you start racking up kills, because Sky Piercer is now at number 70. So that means it finishes enemies by taking a high amount of the HP without you having to do all the work. So at this stage, when it gets anywhere above, I would say 40 or 50 on the number on Sky Piercer, I mean, kills are going to start coming easily, and you will easily get MVP. And your spawn now has the Clock of Destiny, and you also have the Blood Wings, which now makes you more durable, gives you a shield and HP and extra hybrid defense, so that you and your spawn can last long enough to let Sky Piercer do its work. And this is why I think this build is my favorite new build for Zhask. So this might help you give some perspective on how much Sky Piercer damage is doing the work for you. Because if you look in this frame here, my regular attacks with spawn are doing around 118 damage and some extra damage as well. So possibly between 118 to 150 damage each time the death spawn hits the enemy. And when I got that last kill, you saw that Sky Piercer took out 553 or thereabouts of the HPs of the enemy's health points to get the kill. So that saved me. That's about another 5 attacks I'll have to do with my death spawn to get the kill if I didn't have Sky Piercer. Now, true, if I didn't have Sky Piercer, which gives you about 60 magic attack, and I equipped a more powerful item, then my basic attack would have been higher. But still, I mean, many times if you play Zhask, the frustrating thing is you hit the enemy with your spawn, you take his HP low, but he gets away before you can actually get the kill. So I think Sky Piercer is a must as your first item in this new revamped Zhask. And you can see my playstyle fits my build so well, because to really maximize this build like I am now, where I'm getting kills so easily that I'm not even aware that my spawn was hitting someone, that's because I don't die. And that's why it's necessary to sometimes sacrifice a little bit magic power for the Destiny Clock to get some more durability. Because the way you win with this build is not die, let Sky Piercer stack to 80, and then kills are just like, taking candy from a baby.